Welcome back to the deep dive. Tonight we're talking about a river. Now, I know that sounds maybe deceptively simple, doesn't it? Just a little line on a map, some water
Right.
flowing from A to B. But honestly, to call the Mekong just a river, it's like saying the Himalayas are just, a bunch of mountains.
Oh, yeah. It totally misses the point, the scale, the significance.
Exactly. It misses the entire breathtaking picture, the whole intricate story that this river tells. What we're really diving into tonight is, well, it's way more than just geography or hydrology.
Absolutely.
This is a living thing, really, a flowing tapestry, kind of woven with history, these ancient cultures, and just the raw power of nature. It's honestly the beating heart of Southeast Asia. You could feel it pulsing life through 6 different nations. So our mission today, for you listening, is to take this stack of incredible insights we've gathered about this waterway
Yeah.
and really distill it, unravel its complexities, and give you that key knowledge to understand why it matters so much.
And you've really hit upon the core truth there. It's so much more than just a line on a map. When we talk about the Mekong, we're actually discussing a cradle of ancient civilizations.
The cradle. Wow.
Yeah, for thousands of years, societies haven't just existed there. They flourished, built empires even, all because of this one river.
Incredible.
And maybe even more critical today, in our world, it's still this essential lifeline for just an astonishing number of people, over 60 million people.
60 million. Just pause on that number for
Huge. 60 million lives directly tangled up with its currents. They depend on it for their food, obviously, for getting around transport, but also fundamentally for their very identity. Their culture, their daily life, their existence. It's all tied to the river.
Okay.
Which is just an almost unimaginable scale, isn't it? Truly one of the world's great waterways. So as we get into this deep dive, we'll explore its incredible journey, this really arduous path from its icy start all the way to the sea. We'll look at the different names it has. Each one tells you something, about the local culture's view of the river. And we'll unpack the huge impact it has, positive and sometimes challenging, on people and the environment.
Yeah.
By the end, hopefully, you won't just know about the Mekong, you'll have a much deeper feel for why it's called the Mother of Waters and why its future is something we all kind of need to think about.
Okay, let's definitely unpack this, starting with some basics maybe, because the scale, like you said, that's the first thing that just jumps out. Globally, the Mekong is, what, the 12th longest river in the world?
That's right, 12th longest.
And in Asia alone, it's the 7th longest. Now, that's not just a number, is it? What does being one of the world's great waterways actually imply? What does that mean in terms of power and influence?
That's a really good question. It's key to get beyond just the ranking. Being 12th longest, covering nearly 5,000 kilometers.
5,000 kilometers.
Yeah, source to sea. That immediately tells us a few big things. First, just immense hydrological power. A river this long, with this much water, it carves landscapes. It moves massive amounts of sediment, which we'll definitely get into is vital downstream.
Right, for fertility and stuff.
Exactly. And it sustains incredibly diverse ecosystems across different climate zones. It's not just water moving, it's a real geological and ecological force.
Wow.
And second, a river this huge naturally crosses paths with lots of people, lots of political borders. So its impact is inherently transboundary.
Right. Across nations.
Yeah. It shapes geopolitics, trade, culture, across whole regions. It basically forces this idea of shared responsibility, whether people acknowledge it fully or not.
And that journey, nearly 5,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
That's just staggering to think about. For you listening, picture like going from New York to San Francisco or London to Baghdad. But it's all water, constantly flowing, changing, adapting. You have to really try and visualize that huge winding path cutting across such different landscapes.
Yeah.
And where it starts is so dramatic almost.
Yeah.
Paradoxical. It begins way up high amidst the sterile ice of the Tibetan Plateau. What does that stark frozen beginning tell us about the river's initial character and, the journey it's about to take?
That phrase, sterile ice, it really paints a picture, doesn't it?
It does.
Cold, pure, desolate, but also powerful. For a river that becomes so full of life downstream, starting like that speaks to an incredible transformation.
Right.
Up there, high on the plateau, it's literally born from melting glaciers. So it carries specific minerals, sediments from the mountains that become super important later for agriculture.
Ah, okay. So it's carrying nutrients right from the start.
Exactly. And the land is steep up there, so it's incredibly fast-flowing. It carves deep gorges, has immense erosive power. It's raw, untamed nature, a huge contrast to the lush delta it eventually creates.
So it starts wild and powerful.
Very much so. And that journey continues from that cold, stark origin all the way down to the tropical fecundity of the South China Sea.
Fecundity, like super fertile, right?
Yeah, exactly. Rich, abundant life. It's not just a change in weather. It's a total environmental makeover. You go from high altitude, cold, almost like the moon,
Yeah.
through temperate zones, down to this lush, warm, incredibly biodiverse tropical delta. And that gradient, that change, affects everything. The fish, the crops people grow, the whole way of life.
Wow.
So these numbers, 5,000 kilometers, the high source, the tropical mouth, they're not just stats. They're the framework for all the diversity, environmental, ecological, cultural that the Mekong supports and connects.
Right.
And that sheer scale immediately tells you no single nation can control this. It involves multiple countries, which brings us right back to that idea of shared stewardship.
Shared stewardship, which sounds important but probably complicated.
Oh, very. Benefits, responsibilities, potential conflicts, they all have to be navigated together.
Okay, so this is where it gets really fascinating for me because it's not just a physical trip downriver. It's like
Yeah.
a journey of identity, too.
Yeah.
Imagine traveling the Mekong, not just seeing the banks change, but hearing the river itself called different things, having different personalities.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Because that's what happens, right?
Yeah.
As it goes through or touches 6 different nations, it literally gets a new name, a new personality in each one. It's like the river adapts, reflecting the land and the people it serves.
Precisely.
So let's start at the beginning. China. High up, where it's born, powerful, young. It's called the Lifeline.
Longkang Gang.
And our sources say it's born in fury. Its name means the turbulent river. You can almost feel that, can't you? Fury. Turbulent. What does that tell us about this part of the river?
It tells us a lot. Turbulent River. Longkang paints this immediate, vivid picture of its upper reaches. We're talking incredibly steep drops in elevation very quickly.
So it's fast water.
Extremely fast,
Yeah.
creating dramatic, narrow gorges, powerful rapids. This fury isn't just poetry, it's geology. The Tibetan Plateau, those southwestern mountains in China, the river's young, strong, and mostly untamed by people up there compared to lower down.
Right. Hard to navigate, I imagine.
Incredibly hard, historically, often dangerous. Which means human interaction, until more recently with hydropower, was probably focused on its immense, sometimes scary power, not its gentle providing side.
Hydropower, because of that energy.
Exactly. Huge energy potential in that fast flow. But that name, turbulent, really captures that initial raw power.
Okay.
And that initial personality, it also signals a change is coming. As it gathers more water, more strength, it starts its descent, starts to broaden out. It foreshadows how it's going to evolve.
Ah, so it doesn't stay turbulent forever.
No, it starts with this huge force, but it gradually mellows as it moves downstream, becoming, well, more approachable, ready for its next identity, like
Yeah.
watching something powerful mature.
And what a change. As it leaves China, heads south, it really does seem to mellow, broaden out, becomes this huge nurturing force, the great provider for Laos and Thailand. And this is where it gets that really revered name, Manam Kong,
Manam Kong.
the mother of waters. You can just feel the respect in that name, can't you? It's not just water, it's like a maternal figure for whole countries.
Absolutely. The significance of Manam Kong, Mother of Waters, for Laos and Thailand, it's incredibly deep. It goes way beyond just utility.
Right.
Mother implies so much, doesn't it? Nurturing, life-giving, essential for survival. It evokes this deep, almost spiritual respect. For them, the Mekong isn't just a source, it's the source of life.
The source.
And being the provider covers so much. Think about the food, not just any fish, but this incredibly rich biodiversity. One of the world's biggest inland fisheries is right here.
Wow. Giant catfish and things.
Yeah, the critically endangered Mekong giant catfish, one of the biggest freshwater fish anywhere, but also countless smaller species that people rely on daily. And beyond fish, those annual floods. They bring this amazing silt from the Himalayas.
Natural fertilizer.
Exactly. It transforms the land, makes the rice paddies incredibly fertile, allows multiple harvests a year, a richness that's hard to imagine elsewhere.
That's amazing.
And then there's transport. For centuries, it was the main highway. Long-tail boats, bigger cargo boats, connecting remote villages, markets, enabling trade, communication, movement across tough terrain.
The living infrastructure.
Perfectly put. And the spiritual side, too. Life revolves around the river's cycles. Festivals like Loy Krathon in Thailand, floating lanterns, or Bao Nam in Laos celebrating the river, they're all tied to the Mekong. And the folklore, the Naga spirits, these mythical serpents believed to live in the river, protecting it. So Mother of Waters really captures that intimate dependency, life's rhythms, traditions, identity, all tied to the river's flow.
Deeply embedded.
Completely. In their daily lives, their beliefs, their whole culture.
So from the furious birth to the nurturing mother, the journey keeps going south into Cambodia. Here it's just called the Mekong. Simple name, but don't let that fool you. Our sources call it the central artery of the ancient Khmer Empire.
Yeah.
This is a really powerful image. How does a river act like the lifeblood for a huge ancient civilization like the Khmer?
Unpacking that central artery metaphor is key because it nails the river's role for the Khmer Empire, especially around Angkor.
Angkor Wat, right.
Exactly. Think about an artery in your body. It carries lifeblood, nutrients everywhere, keeping everything alive. For the Khmer, the Mekong did just that. It wasn't just near Angkor. It was fundamental to its success.
Oh, so agriculture.
Massively. Think about those huge berets, the reservoirs, and the complex canals around Angkor. Incredible hydroengineering. They were fed by the Mekong and its tributaries.
Wow.
This let them manage water on a huge scale, irrigate massive rice fields, feed maybe 1 million people in the Angkor area. That surplus food powered the empire's growth.
So food security basically enabled the empire.
Absolutely. But also transport. The Mekong was their highway, moving goods, timber, pottery, spices, connecting Angkor to the coast, other kingdoms.
Trade routes.
Yep. And communication, moving troops. It helped them project power, unify the empire. Even defense the waterways were natural barriers, especially in the wet season. And those annual floods, they replenish the soil. But the Khmer also developed amazing systems to control and use that floodwater. It shows this really deep, almost symbiotic relationship.
Wow.
It's fair to say, without the Mekong and their skill in managing it, the Khmer Empire probably wouldn't have reached the heights it did. Its history is literally written in the ruins and landscape there.
Yeah.
Hydraulic power equaled imperial power.
Incredible connection. Okay, so turbulent start, nurturing mother, central artery, and finally the journey ends in Vietnam. Here, the river makes its last big change. It splinters into a vast delta, and it gets this amazing mythical name, Song Coo Long, the River of 9 Dragons. Our sources say that comes from its 9 historic distributaries fanning out to the sea. 9 dragons. That's a breathtaking image.
Yeah.
What's the symbolism there? What does it tell us about the delta?
Oh, the symbolism of Song Coo Long, the 9 Dragons, is incredibly rich in Vietnamese culture. It tells you so much about how vital the river is in this final stage.
Okay.
Dragons in Asian culture, they're not scary monsters. They're powerful symbols of good things. Power, yes, but also prosperity, good fortune, life-giving rain.
Right. Positive symbols.
Very positive. And 9 dragons specifically suggest this almost mythical abundance and fertility, like a divine source of plenty. And that name perfectly captures the sheer agricultural richness of the Mekong Delta, Vietnam's rice bowl.
Oh, rice bowl, yeah.
So when the river splinters into a vast delta, those 9 historic distributaries that's seen as the dragons themselves manifesting, think about how a delta forms. The river slows down near the sea.
Right, drops all the stuff it's been carrying.
Exactly. Drops that huge load of sediment it's carried for thousands of kilometers. That sediment builds land, forces the water into multiple paths to the sea. Those paths are the distributaries.
Dragon's limbs, kinda.
That's a perfect analogy. Each distributary, like a dragon's limb, branches out, spreading that incredibly fertile silt, creating this intricate network of waterways for irrigation, fish farming, transport.
So it's literally building the land and providing the water.
Yeah. Precisely. This powerful branching network nourishes this unbelievably productive region, rice paddies yielding 3 harvests a year, fruit orchards, fish farms, supporting millions of people before finally meeting the South China Sea. It's a vivid picture of the river creating bounty.
Wow.
So this whole sequence of names, Turbulent River, Mother of Waters, Central Artery, River of Nine Dragons, it just underscores this deep, often spiritual bond between the river and the diverse people along its banks.
Yeah.
Each name isn't just a label. It shows a unique, evolving relationship, a profound dependency built over centuries. It really paints a picture of this dynamic, living force constantly shaping lives.
And it's those connections that bring us right back to that core idea.
Yeah.
The Mekong is the essential lifeline for over 60 million people.
Mm-hmm.
That number, 60 million, it's immense, isn't it?
Yeah.
Entire nations, cultures, their daily lives, totally interwoven with this one river.
It really is hard to overstate.
And our sources break down that dependency very clearly for their food, their transport, and their very identity. It's not just one part of life, is it? It's everything.
It's absolutely holistic. That triad, food, transport, identity, that's the key to understanding the Mekong's impact. Let's take for their food. Like we touched on, it's not just any fishing. It's one of the world's most productive inland fisheries.
Right, the biodiversity.
Huge biodiversity, supplying a massive amount of freshwater fish globally. Plus, those floods bringing the silt.
The natural fertilizer for the rice.
Exactly. Crucial for feeding millions, allowing multiple harvests. It waters other crops too. Fruit, vegetables, supports fish farming. It's a natural pantry, basically.
Okay, and transport.
Well, think about the landscape before modern roads, dense forests, mountains. The Mekong wasn't just a way to travel, it was often the way.
The main highway.
Definitely. Small boats connecting villages, larger boats moving goods between nations. It connected remote places to markets, facilitated trade, let people move, ideas spread, all across geographical barriers that would otherwise be really tough to cross. It shaped where people settle, how economies grew, how cultures mixed for thousands of years.
Network.
A living, flowing network.
Yeah.
And that leads to the most profound point, and their very identity.
Yeah, that one feels huge.
It is, because a river this dominant shapes everything. Daily routines, cultural practices, spiritual beliefs, social structures. Think of the festivals tied to the floods celebrating renewal, community, the myths and folklore, the Naga, the Nine Dragons, inspired by its power, treating it as sacred, almost alive. The Mekong sets the rhythm of life for millions. Fishermen, farmers, traders, their jobs, their communities, their traditions, art, even what they eat. It's all linked to the river.
It's not just where they live, it's how they live.
Exactly, and who they are. In the Delta, life literally happens on the water, floating markets, houses on stilts, boats everywhere. And this deep connection, it loops back to the Mekong being that cradle of ancient civilizations.
Right, like the Khmer.
Yeah, civilizations flourish where resources are reliable. The Mekong offered that stability. Consistent food, easy transport that allowed populations to grow, societies to become complex, power to be projected. So food, transport, identity, they're not separate things.
They're all intertwined.
Deeply intertwined, creating this unique way of life that defines the whole Mekong region. It's this ancient dance between people and nature.
So we followed this incredible journey, Tibetan ice to the Vietnam Delta dragons. And like our sources hinted at the start, to really get this, we needed more than just a map. We needed to grasp the sheer scale and this inherent complexity of shared stewardship among all those nations along its banks.
Yeah.
It's so clear now, the Mekong isn't just a border, it's the great unifier, isn't it? A natural force linking these 6 diverse countries, tying their fates together, whether they like it or not sometimes.
That's exactly right. It binds them.
So what does shared stewardship actually mean in practice for a river this huge and vital? What are the implications?
Well, what's fascinating and often really tricky about shared stewardship here is that it's not just theory. It's a real, living, often contentious responsibility.
Contentious? Yeah, I can see that.
It implies that these 6 nations, China, Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, despite all their differences, their different names for the river, their unique histories with it, they all share a common destiny tied to this water.
Right.
It means shared responsibility for its health, its flow, its fish, its sustainable management.
Sounds good on paper.
But the practical challenges are immense. Take hydropower dams, for example.
Oh, yeah. Big issue.
Huge. Upstream countries like China and Laos, they have legitimate needs for electricity for economic growth. So they build large dams.
Okay.
But these dams, while generating power, can drastically change the river's natural flow. They might hold back water in the dry season, reducing it downstream for farming or drinking. Or they change the timing and size of those vital annual floods.
The floods that bring the silt.
Exactly. The floods that fertilize the fields in Cambodia and Vietnam. Changing the flow affects fish catches, farming seasons, and even the sediment flow needed to keep the Mekong Delta from eroding and sinking, especially with rising sea levels.
Wow, so actions upstream have direct impacts way downstream.
Absolutely direct. We've seen real cases where dam operations upstream correlate with reduced fish catches or changed farming conditions hundreds of kilometers away. It creates this incredibly delicate balance. Every decision ripples across borders.
Mhm.
International cooperation isn't just nice, it's essential for the river's health and everyone's livelihood.
So how do they manage that? Are there, like, organizations?
Yes, that's why bodies like the Mekong River Commission, the MRC, exist. It includes Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, and Vietnam. Their job is to promote and coordinate sustainable management for the lower basin.
Yeah.
They deal with water use, dams, environmental protection, flood warnings.
Hmm.
It's this complex, ongoing conversation mixing science and politics, trying to balance national needs with the whole river system's health.
And China and Myanmar.
They aren't full members, but they are dialogue partners, which shows just how much diplomacy is needed for managing resources like this across borders. And the river's different names, its different personalities we talked about,
Yeah.
they illustrate this perfectly. Everyone sees it differently. Turbulent, mother, artery, dragons, but they all depend on the same water. That diversity makes cooperation vital, but also really hard. It needs deep understanding and respect for everyone's unique needs.
And that, for you listening, is really why understanding this interconnectedness is so important, right?
Exactly. It shows us a basic truth. Nature ignores political lines. Rivers flow where they flow, tying communities, economies, ecosystems together in ways borders can't stop.
Right.
So it demands cooperation, mutual understanding, respect. This deep dive, tracing the river from ice to delta, hopefully gives you that foundation to appreciate these complex global relationships, this delicate balancing act needed for such a vital shared resource. Managing the Mekong, in a way, is like a small version of managing our whole shared planet.
What an incredible journey we've taken today, from those high, stark Tibetan peaks down to the vibrant, sprawling Vietnamese delta. We've seen the Mekong change from turbulent river to mother of waters, the central artery of an empire, to the river of nine dragons. It is absolutely, undeniably more than just geography. It's this dynamic, living thing, a force that has shaped and still shapes lives, cultures, history across a whole region, a real testament to nature's power and its deep connection with us. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive into its amazing story.
And as we wrap up, maybe the final thought for you to chew on, building on all this. If the Mekong truly is the mother of waters, the river of nine dragons, embodying all these personalities, sustaining so many lives, what unique and often conflicting responsibilities do those six nations truly bear for its future? Especially now, with pressures like climate change and development growing. And maybe stepping back even further, what lessons can we learn from its ancient resilience and this ongoing, complex dance of shared stewardship for how we manage our other vital shared resources around the world, rivers, oceans, even the air we breathe? Something to think about.